Hello, everybody. My name is Josiah. I am the owner of Vizion Customs, now located here in Wichita Falls, Texas. A lot of stuff has taken place, and we have a new, beautiful headquarters. And there are people wondering, what happened? Why are you behind on so many projects, but you're still getting stuff done? What is going on with all these buildings? What is this madness? It's exactly what it is. It's madness. So I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to take you on a journey. This could be a long video, but I'm going to take you on a journey. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to tell the facts and the reality of everything that has taken place to get us to where we are now. To do that, we have to start right here. So almost 3 years ago, we moved here in October, and we moved into this house behind me. Now, why did we move here? Well, we moved here because we lived in Phoenix, Arizona. The summers had gone from being 3 months of crazy 110 plus heat to being 5-6 months of that heat over the 10 years that we lived there. And the cost of living had more than doubled in the 10 years. And so it was really becoming, they're pricing you out of Phoenix, which is too bad because we loved Phoenix. We loved the state of Arizona. And we were very happy there. But I put faith into a friendship and just did some exploring on my own. It wasn't about anybody. It wasn't about anything. And checked out Wichita Falls. It seemed like a great community, a great city for us to move to. The cost of living is ridiculously affordable here. The houses are great. The cost of everything is great. I get there are people here that think it's so expensive here, that you have never gone anywhere other than here, obviously. But head to the west side of this country or head to the east side of this country and you wouldn't make it. It just, the cost to live here in Texas is absolutely life changing and life saving, and you should all count your blessings that you live in this great state, because everywhere else is too expensive to live. It's just too expensive, and it just gets more expensive every day. This place is awesome. So that's what we looked into. We decided, you know what, we're going to do it. We're going to make the move. Initially, there were conversations had about a friend of mine who was also moving here and his friend, and they were buying a house and he was going to open a big shop. And there were conversations about maybe me joining my business with their business and working out of their shop also. And that was supposed to be a legitimate friends and two businesses together. And I came here with every intention to make that happen. Everything I did, everything I posted, everything that I did to promote myself, I promoted their business also. That was not reciprocated to the same level that I was doing it, which was weird to me because they were nowhere near ready. But there was a timeline, so that's not an issue. There was a timeline of when that was going to be done and when we were going to be moving in. The difference is that is a new business for them. I wasn't a new business. I'm an existing business coming from Phoenix where I was successful in making money. I couldn't sit and not do anything for 6 months and what ended up being almost a year before the building was ready. And that, again, not anybody's fault. We knew that was we knew it was supposed to be 4 to 6 months. But things happened and that got extended out to almost a year. And that's just how things go sometimes. But I couldn't just sit around for the 3 to 6 months. So I had to start working, right? We had to get the ball rolling for me, for my business, not for anybody else. I don't care about what you're doing at this point. I know what we're supposed to be doing together in the future, but right now what's going on is I've got to get back to work. So we started promoting and we started doing some stereo stuff and some headliners and some small upholstery stuff right here in this driveway. And it felt like some people didn't think that was okay. But I came here as an already going business. I wasn't starting something new or something that I hadn't done before. This is what I've done for the last 20 years. I had to go back to work. So we were starting to get some work, get some stuff in. I got a notice on Facebook from a gentleman named Brian saying, "Hey, looks like you could use a shop. I have one. Want to check it out?" I said, "Sure." I'm not trying to really get into a shop because we're supposed to be in the shop with some other people. But let me go check it out. We went and checked it out. It's a mile away from where I'm standing right here. It was a great location. Rent was ridiculous. And so it was like, why not? I mean, even if it's only for 6 months, I can get established and then move into the big building with the guys and everything's going to be awesome. So I went for it. I said, okay. So we moved all the upholstery stuff out of here. We moved everything into our PB building. And we started going and business exploded. I think that again caused weird rifts in relationships that really is strange for me. Instead of being excited, there was other weird dynamics happening. And I just kind of stayed away from it because I'm working, man. I want to build cool cars. I want to do fun stuff. I would love to do it with friends and be able to go into a shop every day and be like, "Yo, what's up?" And everybody be happy with everybody. And it felt like it was supposed to be that way, but it felt like it was going a different way. And so, okay, whatever. I just kept rolling with the punches. You know what I mean? So we're in the shop. This is through the winter. So the wife is over there. We had PB all set up, upholstery section. I built a paint booth in it. The only problem with PB is it didn't have a bathroom. Not a problem. We're a mile away from the house, so we can run back here, go to the bathroom if we need to. Then the first summer came, and it got hot. And so we couldn't continue to work in that building like that. Anyways, this is where it started. And what was supposed to happen was just work in here for a little bit and then move into a big, beautiful building with 2 joint companies working together. But that building was taking longer than it was supposed to due to contract problems and just weather problems and things that took place. And so the building got pushed back out of the owner's control, which sucked for him. It sucked for me. It sucked for everybody. So I went and got the PB building. And yeah, that's where the next step goes to. PB. So again, because of Brian contacting me, showing me this building, we didn't even hesitate. We jumped on it. It was the price for this and just the feeling that I got from Brian, who now after almost 3 years, I can honestly tell you is probably the most genuine, best person, top 3 or 5 best people I've ever met in my life. He is legit. He's straight up. He doesn't fuck with you. He doesn't lie to you. He doesn't try to cheat you. He doesn't try to steal from you. He doesn't try to do any of that. He's straight up what he says he's going to do. He does it. Sometimes it takes a little bit, but I'm the same way. He always does what he says he's going to do. And he's a man of his word. So anyways, we ended up in this building. We moved everything out. We had a full upholstery section in the back half of this building. I built a makeshift paint booth on this side over here. Business exploded. We were jamming. It was friggin' awesome. And legitimately, when we first came in here, we thought it was only going to be like a 6-month thing. And then we were going to be over in the big building. And then conversations started to shift a little bit to, well, okay, what if we keep all of our upholstery stuff here and make this just an upholstery building and all of the body work and paint out at the big shop where they're doing all the mechanic stuff. Yeah, that'll work. That'll be great. I'm here to do that. I'm here to succeed with friends. I'm here to take two companies and blow them into the best around. I want those two names to coincide with the best custom and mechanical shops around. That was my goal. That my whole reason for coming here was for that goal. And so that was the plan. Okay, we'll keep upholstery here. We'll get out there once that building's done. But things started happening. Things started to spiral with that building not being able to get done on time, and then things kept getting pushed out and pushed out. Was frustrating the owner just because contractors and weather and different things were really messing with the time frame of when that building was supposed to be done. It went from 4 months to 6 months to almost a year. I had to keep going though, because I'm Vizion. I'm not that shop. I'm Vizion. We came here. We came here as a known company. We came here as a working business. I worked up to the day that I left and came here. And so then we took that time off. I had to build the business back up, and I'm in a whole new state, so I got to make a whole new name for myself. So I got to work 10 times harder. But I'm not new. This was my job. This was my career. So we got here. Well, my wife was pregnant. Baby came. Then summer came. This building has a heater. This building is insulated. This building has no air conditioning. In the summertime, this building gets hot as shit. And the body and paint business was starting to explode. The upholstery building was getting out of control, but the paint and body was starting to explode too. Well, that means dirt and dust. Well, now we're getting dirt and dust on the upholstery. So the decision was made. It's too hot in here for her. It's too hot for a newborn baby. We're bringing a crib in here and he's trying to sleep in it. It's too dirty and dusty, so I can't do dirty, dusty work when the baby's here. It became logistical nightmare. So then it was like, okay, let's move all the upholstery back to the house. You've got air conditioning. Baby's got a room. You can put baby in the room and still get work done. And so, okay, cool. That's what's going to happen. So we packed up all the upholstery equipment, all of the upholstery jobs, took them back the mile that way, back to the house. I started cracking down in here. So, yeah, that's what happened. We had to separate it again. We put it all together. Now we needed to separate it because of the weather. So now we're back here. First summer hits. It's too hot in PB lane. Again, PB is insulated. It's got a heater, so we're okay in the wintertime. But in the summertime, it's just too hot for my wife, who's just now had our youngest son. It's too hot for her to work in there. So what happens? These windows right here. It's a nice room in here. All the upholstery stuff got brought back here. In the back of the house is a giant shed, big enough actually if there was access to it that you could run a shop out of it. So that's where all the upholstery stuff went. She was working out of the house with air conditioning and the new baby. But there you go. What happens when you work from home? Sometimes you start to get lazy. You're doing more house stuff. You're doing this, you're doing that. You got a new baby, so you're thinking about this. You're not getting the work done. So work got backed up. Work got stacked up over the last 2.5 years. Big time. Some of them annoyingly big time. Now, tons of work has gone out. We have done tons of amazing work for amazing people, and we've got stuff all over the place. But there are some jobs that are still here that should have been done 6 months ago. And that's just what happens. The work from home thing doesn't always work out how you want it to. But Elizabeth was here. So now what's happening is we're at PB. We're taking stuff apart at PB. We're bringing stuff over here. Sometimes we have to send people over here to help her while we're trying to work in there. The shop is packed with stuff. We're trying to do everything, but now we're 2 locations. We're running back and forth. Already starting to look like chickens with our heads cut off. But it doesn't stop there. My dumbass continued to keep growing and keep getting bigger and keep expanding the business. And at this point, it was obvious that we were not going to be moving into the big shop with the guys that we initially just thought was going to happen when we moved here. One, the shop is an amazing shop that they built. It's not big enough for everything they need to do and everything we need to do. We need the size of shop that they have by ourselves. They need the shop they have plus more. Like, they don't have enough room either, and they built a nice, big, beautiful shop, and they've outgrown it. There's no way that we would have worked all together in there. I wish that is the reality of how people accepted the fact that we're not there. It's just that it's not big enough for us all to be there. It wasn't something that I was stepping on anybody's toes and trying to move into. I thought it would be cool for that to happen, for us all to be in one place. I thought that would be amazing. Not everybody felt that way. It's too bad. It's unfortunate. But it is what it is. So you roll with the punches and you move on to your own thing, and you do what you got to do to survive and be successful. And I'm here to make Vizion the top above all of you. And that's my job as a business owner. I'm supposed to be better than all of you. I want to have people with me. But if I'm not trying to be the best, then what am I here for? You know what I mean? So the next step of this journey, what happens next? Let's find out. So upholstery's back over there. I'm in here working. I got some employees working with me. I got some good employees. I got some really bad employees. We got to weed out the good and the bad. We do that. Well, then a job comes in here. A gentleman comes in and has some work trucks. He needs the seats redone in the work trucks. Okay, cool, no problem. Drop off a truck this week, bring another truck next week. We'll get them knocked out, one time, bam, 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 get them back to you. And that's what we did. Well, when it came to pick up the second truck, he said, you've outgrown this building. Now, mind you, there wasn't even upholstery in here anymore. So just what I was doing in here, he could see that I had outgrown this building. And I said, yeah, you're right. I do. I need double this size. I need a room that is for the messy bodywork and paint. I need a room that is for all of the fab and details and vinyl wraps and that stuff. And I need space for upholstery. If we're being honest, I need to be able to put everything back. Well, he says, I have a nice big space that you could have in addition to this space. Come check it out. I said, okay, let me go check it out. So let's go check it out. Okay, so the next building, I'm not going to stop and film in front of it just because I'm not going to start more problem with the crazy old man that owns it. But anyways, this building right here, as we're driving past it, you see that there are two garage doors right here, a big door and a little door. And then there's a small office and storage right there. And then on the other side of that storage is another big, you see a truck. There's another huge door over there. And that door is the paint booth. So right down there, block right down there is the 31st building. And I'm not going to do this in front of the building. Basically because I don't want to start any crap. And when we just drove by there, the crazy old man, who I thought was a sweet old man, is actually there right now. So I know that if I stop there, there'd be a huge confrontation. And we'll get into that a little farther into the story. But problems with that building started basically from day one. So in the original conversations, it was, hey, come look at the building. So I did. And it was, you got the 3 bays. I only need part of the parking lot for my trucks. I don't use the garages anymore. That was all 3 garages. The big side that is a paint booth. The big main door is a nice big open space. And then the second door is another garage. And the deal was I pay half of all of the bills. And all of the bills, I was told, was $1,600 a month. So that's $800 a month is what I pay. And I get the 3 shops. He keeps the main office and the storage and the front section of parking in the lot. Awesome. Let's do it. And so we did. Well, day one, I show up, and the only room that's clean is the paint booth. And the daughter has all of her stuff in the big bay that she's storing. And I'm like, no, I'm supposed to have all of the shops. She, not having a clue what's going on, has to call her dad. Yeah. So then we end up not being able to move into it for another week because we got to wait for her to move all of her stuff out. She finally does. We go to start moving in, and now the small shop is full of all of his stuff. And when I say, hey, what's going on? She says, no. Dad says he has to keep the small one. That's his. You can't have that one. Well, that wasn't the deal. But I'm already committed. We've already moved stuff in. I'm pissed, but the deal's already not what the deal was supposed to be. And I'm going to get angry in this section because that gentleman back there, Mr. Garza, really turned into an absolute piece of garbage. And I'm not afraid to say it, and he can go to hell for all I care at this point. But and you can tell him, we don't get along with each other the way that our last conversation. Yeah, he can go to hell. So anyways, let me calm back down here. So then it keeps getting worse though. Okay. So we're in there working, we're starting to get stuff done, but now we're jumping. You got to remember, now I'm bouncing between 3 different buildings. We've got 3 buildings going on. PB Lane has become where we're doing all the clean, where we're doing our wraps, where we're doing, taking upholsteries apart, putting upholsteries back together. All of the upholstery work's being done at the house. And then at this shop, we're doing all the body work and all the paint. I still don't have a full work crew. I've got 1 or 2 guys, right? And at that point, I really didn't have anybody. I had one guy who I thought was going to be awesome. That didn't pan out after a week. That turned weird, and so that ended. And then I got Melwan, which is the start of an amazing crew. But it was just me and Melwan and Elizabeth at home. And so we're bouncing all over the place. And my son started coming on board a little bit more and helping on the weekends when he could. But we're jumping everywhere. And so there a week where I'm never at this building at all because we're at PB trying to finish something, or there's weeks at a time where we're here and we're not at PB, and so stuff that's at PB isn't getting done, the stuff that here is, and then vice versa. And I didn't have enough people and too many buildings and too many projects because now all of the buildings are all full, right? Then 6 months in, then all of a sudden it is, you got to pay more rent. You need to be paying $950 a month. Why? Oh, all the utilities and everything went up, so now you have to pay half of the utilities. So the utilities went up $300 from what they had always been, and now I've got to pay another extra $150. That doesn't make sense, but okay, maybe I use a lot more power than they used. Okay, fine. We'll do it. Then it was, rent's going even higher. Oh, you've got to do this. And then I started thinking, and I realized I thought that he owned it all. He doesn't. He used to. At one time, he owned all of that. He doesn't. He sold it a long time ago. His business is not doing great. He sold the building to another gentleman and then turned around and released it from that gentleman. Well, that guy has no idea that my business is in there. He is subleasing to me without the owner of the building knowing it. So this guy's business goes out of business, or God forbid he dies or something happens, I'm out. I'm out of a shop, or I'm going to get hit with this. The guy's not going to have me pay the same that he was paying, right? So I can't afford that whole building at this point. And so it was a very scary thing because I don't know from day to day if I'm just going to be out, and I've got all this stuff that I've got to figure out how to get out of there. Then it started being, I would be getting attacked, like not joking. On first of every month, 6 a.m., I'd have messages. It's the first, you better have a rent, da-da-da-da. I always paid rent between the 6th and the 12th. They always got paid. I never missed a month. It was never short on rent. it was always in the first week to 2 weeks, they always got their rent. Always. And then there started being things like, hey, business isn't going well. Can you help with the building? No. I'm not paying your share of the building that I don't have any right to now that I know. So it got to a point where I was getting very worried and things were getting ugly. Well, then things started coming up missing. And then it was that his workers were venturing into my parts of the building and going through stuff and taking stuff and showing people their friends in my building when we weren't there. And that started irritating me. And then it was that rent needed to go up even more. And now all of a sudden my rent is almost $1,200 a month in less than a year, mind you, less than a year. And my rent was only supposed to be $800. And so I contacted Brian, owner of PB, and said, yo, bro, do you got a building? I need a building. Give me a building. So the search began for a building from Brian. And we slowly stopped working in this building, which made a bunch of projects fall way behind. But it was at a point where I could not legitimately come in here and work anymore. I was being held hostage. Customers' vehicles were being held hostage. I didn't put that out to anybody. I was trying to deal with it on my own and be a man and get everything cleared up and get it taken care of. But we were really being held hostage and being threatened and not being able to work on anything that was in this building for months and months and trying to get over here and do what we could when we could without being harassed. And it was just becoming a huge nightmare. And so Brian found us a building, but it took longer to get it ready for us than we thought. And so the next step was getting to this new building from Brian and getting it ready because it wasn't ready for us. So we had months ahead of us to get it ready so we get the hell out of here. We needed to get the hell out of here. So we found 10th and the work began on 10th to get us out of this nightmare of 31st that gets worse. So then that brings us here to the 10th Street building. So like I was saying, once we knew that there were issues at 31st, I contacted Brian and said, hey, do you happen to have another building? Man, I can't stay here much longer. It's becoming a serious issue. He said, you know what? I do. Let me go and get stuff cleaned out. Well, it took longer for him to clean this building out than expected in the beginning. And there were some hurdles and some obstacles here. But we came in, we painted the whole front of the building, the facade. We went in, we put our own lighting in it. We had all the power turned on. We had everything done in here. Brian came and cleaned huge messes from the last tenant that he had in here. He put a beautiful gate up for us. Brian was absolutely awesome. We started moving vehicles in here. We were pumped. We spent so much money on the inside of this building to get the lobby nice for people, to get a legitimate paint booth in here, because there wasn't one, right? So this building is very much like the PB Lane building, only it's not as wide. It's actually a little bit deeper, but not as wide. And then you've got the garage door here, and then there's a garage door on the back that had a big covered carport that was already built. So Brian said, go ahead, make it into a paint booth. So we spent a ton of money, walled it all in, and created an actual paint booth and made this building bigger. We were so pumped. We were so pumped to be in here. We've got the 5Gs Motorcycle Club is right across the street, which are really good friends of mine. So, we'll be here hanging out. We'll be able to go over there and hang out when they have their clubhouse hangouts. Awesome. We were really stoked, and the price was right. And I know that Brian's not going to screw me when it comes to rent. What we agree on for rent is what we agree on. The other thing that Brian was really cool about was that Don't pay me any rent here until you get the building 100% up and running and going, and you're in here 100% full time. Once you're out of 31st and you're in here, then we'll start the rent. So, we got cameras up. And I've still got access to this building. We still have cars in this building. And that's just because we're still in that move process to headquarters. And trying to consolidate everything into one space. And so there's lots of projects that we still have to finish to get out of the way so we can get stuff out of here and get it moved over there. Brian is allowing us to use this. So, yeah, we were pumped about this building. It was so awesome, ready to go. I'll take you inside and I'll show you what it looks like now and explain why we're not in this building. Okay, so as we head towards the door, so again, we came in, we have started taking stuff out. We came in though, we painted, we put in a nice thing in the lobby. We built a nice little lobby. We did some cool stuff in here. And then you come into the actual shop, and as you see, there still are some projects in here. But great thing about this building also, it had its own bathroom. We've got a burger joint right across the street. We were pumped. There's still some lighting that we need to get down and then get vehicles moved out of here. And that will be here in the next week or two. We'll be able to get everything out of here and get this back to being cleaned. So we got the paint booth. We had a car in the paint booth ready to paint. That is Harold, one of our best customers in the world. That is his Corvair. It is completely ready to start shooting paint on it. And now it's just stuck in limbo, and it sucks. It really pisses me off. And people think, oh, you guys are slow, you're lazy, you're behind. No, the stuff happened that we had no control over. Okay. So we came in here, we kicked ass on this, trying to get this building up and going. And we were ready to go. We had it. It was so nice in here. We had beautiful lighting in here. We had everything was set up. We painted a motorcycle in here for a customer. Everything in here was great. Well, then, as you know, we had a major death in the family, and we had to leave. And we were gone for a month. And things took place during that month. And that's where the headquarter building was found and started. Well, then the plan was we were still going to use this building as we slowly got headquarters up and running. If you see the floor in here is absolutely disgusting. And not just the garbage that we haven't picked up, but all of the dirt and everything you see, that's because we had 2 back-to-back rainstorms. Now, we spent a ton of time putting all new covers because there were some leaks when we moved in, but nothing major. And so we fixed all of that. We redid all the tops. We redid so much stuff in here. You don't have any idea how much time that we had to take away from work to try to get this building up and running. Time, money, effort, but this is mud, this whole floor. What ended up happening was, in those 2, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on this tire, but the building flooded. It came all the way up to the rim, and it did that twice. So this building floods. It floods 2 to 3 inches when it floods. It's bad. Comes right in from the bottom of the building. It didn't come from above. It came from below. And the whole building floods out. So it cannot be used. Well, that put us in another bind, in another pickle. And puts us, look at all this dirt. This is all mud from flooding. So the whole building flooded out on us. That screwed us. We've got headquarters, sure, but we're not ready to move into headquarters. We're supposed to be able to be in here and work. Well, this floods. We cannot work here. We can't work in flood. We can't work in that, period. And so it put everything on hold again because now we had to get headquarters built, done, up and running. Why is that a pain? Well, because headquarters was a car dealership 25 years ago. It has been a clothing store for the last 15 years. It's not ready to be working on cars in it. Not when we walked in the door. Plus, you gotta buy it. You gotta do all the stuff, right? So, anyways, we got screwed. So the last 3 months have been not being able to use this building at all. An absolute nightmare going on with 31st because we still were using 31st, right? We weren't solid in here yet. Yeah, the other problem here is trash. Do you see this? There's trash everywhere. And that is because, unfortunately, and Brian has been trying, but you got some scum, trash, drug, just garbage living in this building right here. The building should be absolutely condemned. The people living in it should not be allowed to live there. But the trash just flows from that building and the trash that's living there and flows in here. And that did worry us from the beginning, and that's why there's cameras. But we were going to get past it. We were going to try to make the building nice, make things nice, maybe help out Willie's Burgers over here a little bit, you know. And then the flooding happened. And when it floods, it floods 2 or 3 inches up this door and floods right through the building. It's bad. So we cannot stay here. But we got 31st. So let's go on to the next stage and we'll explain the last of it and the nightmare that has now become an absolute blessing and amazingness. Let's go. It's going to be, I said it was a long video. I told you, long video. So let's go finish it out. So at this point in the story, we have moved out of Phoenix. We've moved to Wichita Falls. We've started our business back up in our driveway while we're waiting for a big shop to be built with some friends. Ended up getting our own little shop to work out of while we're still waiting for the big shop with our friends, and then deciding we're going to do the 2 shops, to then it being too hot in the summertime and having a baby. So the wife and upholstery moves back to the house. I'm still in the little shop. To then getting the big 31st shop. So now again, we're between 3 buildings, but the nightmare of 31st has started to take a toll. Now we're only about a year and a half. So a little over a year and a half. So the part of the story there at 31st is almost a year ago when we start looking for this new building and 10th Street with Brian. But now I've also got a full crew. Okay. It's me. It's Melwan. It is Justin, who is a family member, basically from Washington, who has moved down here. Anthony, my wife, and my son. And so we go check out the 10th Street building. It's gonna need a lot of work, right? Yeah, you just saw it needed a lot. We went into it. It was horrible when we went into it. That building was so bad. But I had a full crew. Well, then we lost Melwan. We lost Melwan for about 8 months due to stupid things. But unfortunately, we lost Melwan for a while. We knew he was coming back, but he was gone. It was out of our control. Well, then we get through the holidays, through the cold months, then tragedy strikes. My wife's father passes away completely unexpectedly. So in dealing with all of that, my wife having to leave, go back to Washington to deal with the funeral and the loss of her father and all of that stuff. I'm home with the kids and trying to get this business together. But remember, so we're trying to build 10th Street. We're not able to work in 31st Street. It's an unhealthy environment. Cars are being locked away from us. We're getting in there when we can get in there. But our main focus was to get 10th Street built and done so we could get the hell out of 31st. We needed to get out of there. It was a toxic, horrible environment. And so now we're 5-6 months that we haven't been able to work on vehicles that are in there. properly. And it wasn't, I mean, I get you could put that on us, but at the same time, we were in a position where it just wasn't, we couldn't work in there. And if we went to work in there every day to work on the customer vehicles, then we were not going to get a shop to get out. And so it was a lose situation. The only win was to get 10th Street done and get the hell out of 31st and away from the Ralph Garza nightmare. That, again, was a lie from the day we walked in. Nothing stayed how it was agreed upon. Nothing. So, as you saw, so we got 10th about ready to go. We still had a lot of work to do on 10th, as you saw. But then with the death of her father, we ended up having to leave. And I left the crew to work. Please go into 31st, start cleaning 31st up, start getting some stuff out of it, finish up, get more work done on 10th Street, please. There was a car that was in PB Lane because we didn't have anywhere else for it to be. So go work on that car in PB Lane and get it done. But we had to leave as a family and go back to Washington for a month to deal with her father's estate and deal with all of that. So that's what happened. And while we were gone, my crew is phenomenal and awesome. And they busted their butts and they worked where they could on the projects that they could. They're all still learning. And so with me not being there to mentor them, there's only so much they can do without me. They get better and they know more and more, and I can leave them to do more and more on their own every day. And it's awesome. But that's how I want my crew. I want the crew to be able to learn and grow as a family in this environment, in this company, and not be butting heads and not be arguing, not be fighting, not be doing any of the dumb shit. So anyways, we're gone. Well, while we're gone, the boys are trying to get 10th done. They're working at PB. I was driving around doing something in Washington and my wife was off handling something else. Well, this building came across her newsfeed for sale. And she sent it to me. I don't know why she sent it to me, but she did. She doesn't really know why she sent it to me. I looked at it and said, that would be awesome. It is set up so that we can have a paint booth body shop out there. We can have an upholstery section. We have a lobby. We have a wrap section. We have a full fab section. We've got covered parking. It's awesome. That would be to have as a headquarters and put everything in one location would be phenomenal. And we kind of had a little conversation about it, and we fell into a situation where it was feasible for us to get this. And so while we were on the trip to Washington, I called the people that had this for sale and said, hey, I'm gone for a week. I still got a week left before I'm even back. I know you've had a ton of people that want the building. The price for the building was ridiculous. It wasn't pennies. It wasn't cheap, but it was cheap compared to what they could have gotten for this building. And the fact was that they were trying to move their business that was in here into another building that they had purchased. And so they needed this sold ASAP so that they could help pay for the new building that they were moving into. And so we kind of had conversations and I said, look, man, I'm dead serious. My son was still here. He drove over here to the building and met with the owner and looked at it, called me back, said, Dad, it would be phenomenal. So I had a conversation with the owner on the phone and I said, look, again, I'm not back for another week. I'm not willing to give you earnest lockdown money for a building that I haven't actually seen yet, but I'll be back next Thursday morning. I can be there at 8:30 in the morning, meet you, walk through the building. And if it is everything that we believe it is, we can give you the earnest money right then. He didn't have to do that. He had 3 other guys that were willing to pay the same that we were willing to pay. But he waited and he had everybody sit on hold and he waited. And we got back and we came and we checked it out. And it was just right. So we struck up a deal, but now we weren't going to be able to even touch the building for another month And so I'm still having the boys work on 10th. Let's get 10th done so we can get everything out of 31st. We'll still use 10th Street for a few months, get us through the summer and into the fall at 10th Street, because I've got a great relationship with Brian. And that gives us time to slowly turn this building into what we need it to be. But we can get back to work and we can spend weekends and evenings working on this place. We'll own it. We won't be in a rush. We aren't dealing with a shitty landlord when it comes to 10th Street. We've got Brian in our back pocket again, not somebody that's trying to screw us over at every turn. So let's get out of the screw zone and into something nice. And so that was the plan. And that's what was happening. We were slowly starting to put stuff in here, but I was trying to get out of. I'm sick and tired of giving this guy money. I don't even want to give this guy money anymore for this building that we can't use. I've got customer vehicles in there that we haven't touched in months because I can't with the owner, or not even the owner, the renter that's subleasing to me has made it so that we can't even work there anymore. And then the floods happened, like you saw at 10th Street. And it was like, we can't work here. We can't work in this building. And so then we had to pivot. And it was, we have to get headquarters 100% done, up and running. We've got to get headquarters built. And so that's where all the focus went to. All of the focus went to getting headquarters in our name. But again, we had to wait a month before we could even get in here. And then it was a month of prepping. We had to fix some electrical stuff. We had to change some stuff. We had to get everything legally changed into our name because we purchased the building outright. We are in an area where there are a lot of homeless that walk through. There isn't crime, but there's a lot of homeless that come through. And so we put cameras up everywhere. And I got tired of every night seeing the homeless just wandering through my parking lot and dropping trash and stuff. So before we could get to work, before we could bring cars and put cars outside, we needed fencing. So we had to then wait and find the right fencing company, get a fencing company to come build us a security fence. That's all been done. So now we've got cars locked and secured inside the property. We've got the building up and running 100%. Elizabeth, immediately we got upholstery back in here because the whole building is air conditioned and heated, which is phenomenal. Nico's not a baby anymore, so he's running around trying to manage us and make sure that we're working. But the floods happened with 10th, and so then it was like, well, shit, we don't even have 10th as a security blanket. And PB Lane, we still have PB Lane, but PB Lane has become this. So now back here at PB, what is PB now? Well, PB's kind of become my toy box. We still have PB. This is the building that I tell Brian he's never getting it back. Whether I buy it or I just rent from him forever, this is my building now. So do we still have PB Lane? 100% we still have PB Lane. We still have everything in here. This is my toy box. This is mine and my boys, and this is where we keep our stuff and just kind of, yeah, this is just our hangout. We got TV, we got couches. This is kind of our clubhouse and where when we want to work on our own stuff and there isn't room over at headquarters, then we come over here. This is where I keep all of my show stuff, all of that. The show cars are kept in here, the show bikes, all that stuff is kept here. So it's easy for me to come and get it. This is kind of a showroom. Right now it's a mess because we're moving stuff around still. But normally this is all set up like a showroom and all the vehicles are set up and motorcycles are lined up so that you can come in and we can show off what we do on a grand stage and a grand level. Ooh, chrome. Lots of chrome toys right there. Anyways, yes, we still have PB. Is it part of the business? If we have overflow stuff that we need to do and we need the space, we can come over here and use PB as an overflow building. But for the most part, all the work is done at headquarters, not here anymore. This is a grown folk toy box. That's what this building is now. Yeah. So the toy box, that's PB Lane now. And this is where we work. So we're here every morning. There's no longer the boys messaging me saying, where are we at tomorrow? There is no more of that. Everybody knows we're in this building. I'm here between 7 and 7:30 every morning. I'm opening the gates and I'm in here cleaning and getting ready for the day from Tuesday through Saturday. Today is Sunday, so I'm filming this nightmare of a story. But I need people to know that literally for like the last 9 months, we've been on hold. We've been trying to get stuff done, and we have been getting work out. We've been gangbusters since we finally buckled down and opened in here. We're pushing stuff out like no tomorrow, which is awesome. We get all this backed up stuff done and out of here, which is what we're trying to do. But I apologize to all the people whose cars should have been done months ago. But I need you to understand that it was beyond our control. And things got uglier. So when we got back from Washington and we knew that we were buying this building, I told Garza that yes, we weren't going to be at 31st for much longer, a couple months, and we were going to be moving out. And he was fine. He was not a dick. He wasn't any of those things. He was totally fine. I wasn't happy that he had pretty much doubled my rent by that point, with no excuses other than obviously he's having a hard time with his business and wanting me to cover the bill. But there wasn't a problem. I'm just moving out, okay? Your shop doesn't work for me anymore. This situation doesn't work for me anymore. I can't be bouncing between 3, 4, 5 different freaking buildings. I need to have everybody in one location getting work done. And be happy for me. Be proud for me. When you're talking about the guys who I was originally supposed to be in a building with, the guys at Details, they're rocking. They're slammed. There's no way I'd have been able to fit in that building with them. They are busy. They're working on customer cars all day, every day. They're doing great, but they're doing them. I'm doing me. And so here we go. Well, then for the month of July, I paid half of the rent on the 1st and said, I'll be out by the 15th. We'll have everything out of here. We're leaving. We're done. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm out. Now, mind you, there's no written contracts. This was all done on a handshake. And that's why it made it easy for him to screw me for the last year, because that's what he does. Obviously, a complete screw job. And so I do that. And then 2 days later, I send my boys over to 31st with the truck and trailer to start grabbing the last of the stuff. We've still got 2 customer cars in the building and a bunch of tools and my huge compressor that I bought from him and a ton of stuff in the building. So I send the boys over, and what I get is a phone call saying that Garza has parked all of his work trucks and trailers in front of all of the garage doors and made it so that nothing can be moved out. And they're gone. Nobody's there. Now, they didn't change any of the locks, so my boys were able to get in. My boys busted ass, and they got as much of everything out of the building, even with the trucks in the way, as they could. But now you've still got my massive compressor that I bought from him that really was just a tank is all I bought from him, because I replaced the motor, I replaced the electrical, I replaced the pump over the last year and a half. That all went out when we moved in. But it's a massive thing. You have to have a tractor to move it. And 2 cars, 2 giant Cadillacs in the building with all of the parts to them. And he is holding them hostage. And when I call, what I get is a violent screaming and yelling, insults, claiming that I owe him $500 from 4 months ago. I'm going to tell you right now that that's absolute bullshit. I didn't owe him a dime. And the message is that he would leave me at the beginning of every month. And if you knew him, you know damn good and well he would have never let me go 3 months still owing him $500. He'd have been on my ass every day about his $500. So right there, you're a liar. I didn't owe you any money. And I told him, I said, I don't owe you any money, but where do you think I owe this money from? That's all I asked. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't do anything. I said, where do you think that I owe you? And he started screaming and yelling, telling me that I was screwing him over. And then at one point, on 2 different times during that phone call, told me that he would fucking kill me. Those were his direct words from Ralph Garza. I'll fucking kill you. You come to my shop without paying the $500 and try to touch anything, I will fucking kill you. Yeah, that was said to me. And I'm trying to be an adult. I don't want to resort back to, young ways and make a huge scene. And I went back and forth with it. And finally I contacted his daughter and I said, meet me at this location. I'll give you $500 that I do not owe you. And I want those trucks moved this afternoon. But yeah, it was complete blackmail. We paid the $500. It then took a day and a half for them to move the trucks. They finally did. And then the conversation was telling me that I didn't pay for that the compressor was not mine, that it was his. No, everything on that tank I paid for, I bought. Plus I bought the tank from him for $350 a year ago. And he knows it. So I immediately, as soon as the boys got in there and started loading stuff, I called tow trucks, come get the cars out of there as fast as possible and get them here. And then I called Brian, who took his tractor over there, and picked up the giant compressor and put it on the trailer. And then I got a call saying, oh, you're right. You can take the compressor. It's yours. Yeah, no shit. Cause if you got a problem with it, I'm going to take everything off of it that I paid for. And you can keep the tank that will just be an empty tank. And I'll go find another tank somewhere and put all of my equipment on it. But anyways, we ended up getting it all out. And my guys cleaned it. They cleaned everything. They were respectful. I was respectful. Ralph Garza was trash. He was a 2-year-old. And I think the guy's damn near 90. It was absolutely... It was hilarious and infuriating at the same time. And it affected my business. It affected us getting work done. And I thought that it was going to be a great thing for our business to be in this big building. And 31st just became a nightmare. And it put me behind on so many projects. And there's still 2 projects here. There's a total of 4 projects that were 100% directly affected by 31st and Ralph Garza, that are cars that all should have been done and are all still not done. We're going to try to have them done by the end of this month. Beginning of next month, we're going to try to have 3 of the 4 finished and out of here. That's our goal. But now that we're all in one location, everybody's here every day working. Until last week, unfortunately, we had Mel Wan almost cut a toe off after hours. And so he wasn't able to work all week. He had to go to the hospital and have some stuff done. And Anthony had a massive tooth infection that put him out for the last week. But the rest of us have been here kicking ass and taking names, and it's been phenomenal. So headquarters, you want to see it? I'll show you headquarters. So this is headquarters. We are on the corner of 12th Street and Lamar in Old Town downtown, 1115 Lamar Street. This is our building. It was the old Greg Motors dealership. We've got lots of covered parking. On this side is where we keep the projects that we're working on that don't have room inside yet. So before they go inside, they sit out here. This is the side for customers and for our other stuff. All privacy gated now, safety gated. We have this giant building. This is our paint and body building. We are going to open that door up. We're going to make it huge, big barn doors to get in and out of. That half of the building is all body shop. From about right there forward is all the paint booth. There is a car in the paint booth ready to paint next week. I know that I had the microphone way far away, so you probably didn't hear me. This section is the paint booth. We got a car in there. It's ready to be painted. It will be painted next week. That half is all body shop. We got to make the door bigger. This building, we've got a full lobby. We've got a full bathroom. We've got a full little pantry with a refrigerator, tons of storage, all kinds of fun stuff. Yay! We got the big giant compressor is behind that outside, so we don't have to hear it anymore. We also have another compressor in the building for when we need stuff inside. We have our initial lobby when you walk in. Fun stuff to look at. All of the awards that Vizion has won with our builds that we have done. You've got all your upholstery stuff to look at, make your decisions, different things to look at, fun stuff. Then you make your way into the first room, which is the upholstery detail, tear down, and wrap. This is where we do all of our wraps. This is where we do our details. This is where we take interiors out, start taking them apart. Usually there's only one car sitting here, and then that's all tables for the upholstery. But this car, we just finished the wrap on it, and it's not getting picked up for a couple days. So during the evenings when we're not here or closed hours, we just brought it back inside. So we got our Z4 in here, putting a new convertible top on it. And then it's going to get a wrap. It's going to get a full interior. It's going to get tons of stuff to it. So this is the clean room. Up there is all the upholstery jobs that we're working on. We're in the middle of the red job that's down there. There's still a seat and some stuff up above. But then there is a new finished back seat is sitting right there. And so then the rest of those seats will all match that seat. We'll get that car done here in the next week or so and then move our way down. Then you got a whole nother bit. And again, every room, air conditioned, heated, big fans. Then you've got back in the back room. Here we've got more projects, 2 giant Cadillacs. These are the 2 cars that were held hostage that should have been done months ago and will be done. That building in that room, those 2 cars will be done in the next 30 to 40 days or so. Next month, month and a half, those 2 cars will be done and out of this building and back to their owners where they belong, not with us. One of the things that I've always said is, I don't want to keep your car. I don't want your car. I want to build you a badass car so you can go show your car. If I wanted your car, I would have built that car for myself a long time ago. So I'm not in the business of keeping people's cars. I'm not in the business of storing people's cars. I'm in the business of trying to build cars, finish cars, get cars out. There's cars out there that we're waiting for. There's an old school right there. Should have been out 3 weeks ago. They sent us the wrong convertible top for it. We're waiting for a new one. It's supposed to be here next week. If it shows up and it's the right top this time, that car will be done by the end of next week. The other car out there, the Montclair that's out there, we had to wait for a bunch of parts, but that car got kind of caught in the wash of all of the moves. We have everything to finish that car now, so we're knocking it out. It will be crazy. That's the red interior right there. So that car will be done and out of here in the next month or so. Then there's a truck. The truck got bounced back and forth between different shops. It got sent off to details for engine work. Then it came back here to us. It's all painted. It's been wet sanded. We need to buff it out. We need to put the new interior in it and get it the hell out of here. There's just so much to do, and we just got screwed for almost a year. We just got screwed, and so we just got behind. You saw the cars that are at 10th. We had cars that were supposed to be done, cars that were ready to be finished, and then death and floods. Those are not things that we control. But now we're past them, and you've got to work past them, and you've got to move past them, and you've got to be able to deal with those types of things, and people have to be able to understand. And luckily, the majority of our customers, 99% of them, 100% understand what has happened, and they are behind us, and they are not freaking out. And thank you, every one of you. You guys are awesome. All the way from the cars that have been here for not very long to the Cadillac owners that, Jesus Christ, guys, you should have had your car. they should be done. It should not be here. I don't want to go in there and see that car anymore. Not because I don't like it, but because it should have been finished. And there were things that were out of my control and I couldn't do it. We just couldn't. Now we can. But there's a whole bunch of stuff. We're still getting this business together, this building together. And so we're not moving at a slug pace anymore, but there's so many projects that we're trying to catch them all up and get them all out that it's a bounce back. Bing, 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 bing. But we're getting them. Trust me, we're getting them. We're getting them out. They're going to be out of here. I got more stuff coming. Our business is exploding. And so we've got to get stuff out and then continue to keep getting stuff out for future customers. We get big builds. There's an international scout sitting out here that just got dropped off. That project they know is going to be here for 1.5 to 2 years. It's going to take to build that thing because we're doing a complete frame off. That thing is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a fun project, but it's going to be a long project. And then we've got little stuff that comes in and out. That's how bills get paid. So for those that are all, well, you've got this car, you've had this car for a year. Why? That's why. And that's how we got to having a headquarters. But now we have everything under one roof. It's only been 1.5 months that we've been in here. So it's going to take a second to get everything situated. But trust me when I say that we are here to build the best and be the best. And if we hurt people's feelings along the way, we hurt people's feelings along the way. But I'm not stopping. This is a boulder that's just going to roll over anybody that gets in the way. And now we're at a time where that ball has really started to roll. It got caught. It got caught up on some branches and got stuck for about a year. But we just kicked those trees down and we're rolling again. So thank you for watching this long-ass video. I, again, am Josiah. This is Vizion Customs in Wichita Falls, Texas. We are the best all-around custom shop. We're the place that the pros, quote-unquote, call themselves pro wrappers, send their cars to us when they don't have the time or they can't get the job done. We get it done. We are going to be the leader in vinyl wrap in this city, 100%. When that Mercedes-Benz hits the streets next week, our shop Vizion hits the streets in 2 weeks, we'll be untouchable in the wrap game here. Our upholsteries are second to none. The custom paint is second to none. We are award winners. We win trophies. We win awards. I build show cars. And I'm going to continue to do that for you customers out there. So thank you very much. Again, like I said earlier, my job is to say that I'm the best and to then strive to be the best. And if I can't do that or I don't believe that, I shouldn't be in business. You don't have a business, you don't start a business to be mediocre or to be second or third best. You want to be the best. That's what I'm going for. I'm going to get off of here. It was great. It was fun. Then it got ugly. And now it's great and fun again. We're not stopping. I'm Josiah. This is Vizion. Have a great day. Keep watching.